Welcome back to the Sick and Successful podcast. This is episode 100. I can't. I honestly, it's so crazy because Facebook just gave me a Facebook memory yesterday that it is the 3-year anniversary of starting this podcast and having the podcast launch. It's crazy how much can change in 3 years. And it's really crazy what happens when you put your mind to something and you do it consistently, mostly, for 3 years. I am going to talk about in this episode what it means to me to be sick and successful. 3 years ago, pretty much to the date, I have an episode, it is episode number 2, I believe, about, I will make sure and I will put it up here in the YouTube and in the podcast. I will just make it in the show notes below. I'll link that episode. But it was talking about what it means to be successful to me. And I did not go back and listen to that episode. So I'm not sure what I said, not full idea. All I know is what Facebook reminded me. But I was talking about what it means to be successful, and I truly believe that over time, and we continuously change as human beings, right? And so our definitions, the things we strive for, our goals are going to evolve and they're going to change. So what it meant to be successful for me 3 years ago might have changed now. I didn't have a company then. I was kind of an entrepreneur. I had just got into really opening up my own business. I was still working full-time corporate. I didn't have my daughter. I actually found out I was pregnant after recording that episode, after recording the first few episodes. I was pregnant. I was like maybe 5 weeks pregnant at my launch party. So that was a long, long time ago. I can still remember. Okay. So my whole entire life has changed since then, really significantly. So today I wanted to sit down and for the celebration of the 100th episode, I wanted to share with you what it truly means to me to be sick and successful and what this brand means to me, what that slogan means to me, and what this podcast means to me, and what I hope it means to others. And I would love to know what sick and successful means to you, because it is really cool to have people on the podcast who I think would be a benefit for you as a listener. But I want to know what sick and successful means to you. Does it have a connotation? Does it resonate with you? Does it have a spot in your heart like it does in mine? So without further ado, let's get into it. I am so passionate about hashtag sick and successful because it has always been kind of a part of me. Ever since, like going back 11 years when I was in university, I really identified with sick and successful. Although I didn't have it in those terms at the time, for me, like I had big dreams, I had big goals, I had a vision for my life. And I was sick, and I was constantly in the hospital, and I was constantly at doctor's appointments taking upwards of 20 to 30 pills a day, big, huge horse pills, going for blood tests every single week for a long period of my life because of the medications I was on. So it was like these two different parts of me, this part of me that was chronically ill and, didn't really see a future and was scared of what that future might hold. There wasn't a lot of optimism on, having a chronic illness. Those words are so terrifying. Chronic, forever, no cure, no options, trials, potential medications, failing medications, things aren't working, blood tests because the medications you are on are so extremely damaging. That whole world is such a mind F. And then being in university, striving towards my dreams, starting new jobs, starting new careers, being promoted, doing really well, being a high achieving type A person, it almost seems like these two worlds can't collide. But the thing is, there are so many of us dealing with the same thing, right? It might not be a chronic illness like Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis for you. Maybe it's mental health. Maybe it's ADHD. Maybe it's depression. Maybe it's PCOS. Maybe it's arthritis. Maybe it's chronic migraines. Maybe it's chronic pain. Maybe it's, whatever it is for you. Maybe it's not even you. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your husband or your kids or your parents that are chronically ill or sick in some way that affects you so much as a caregiver. And you also have this successful part of your life, right? It's like this world that people don't get to see, that's within our homes, that's in our daily struggles. And then when we show up to work every day, we try to put a mask on, or when we sit behind our desk to run our businesses, we try to put this mask on. But what sick and successful truly means to me is that our two worlds can collide. The sickness part of our life and the successful part of our life does coincide, right? There are days where we're so sick we can't work, or our family members are so sick that we can't go to work. And there are days where all we are thinking about is how we want to achieve our dreams and how we want to achieve our goals. There's these two different worlds that simultaneously will make us successful, because nobody else has the perspective in life that we do as people who are chronically ill, or as someone who is taking care of someone who's chronically ill. It changes everything. We get more compassionate, we get more understanding, we have more patience. We really have more of appreciation for life. There truly is nothing more in life that is going to make you appreciate it than sitting in a hospital bed and not knowing if you're ever going to get out. I clearly remember, as it was yesterday, sitting in the hospital bed in my last hospital stay, I believe it was in around 2017 or 18, having a journal and journaling all the dreams I had, all the colors I wanted my business name to be, like my business brand to be, all of the potential business names. I had no idea what type of business I wanted to run. I had no idea. I was jotting down, I was drawing little logos, and I was like, maybe I'll have a t-shirt company, and maybe I'll do this, and maybe I'll do that. I always knew I wanted to be successful. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, or that I wanted to be at the very top of the corporate ladder, but I didn't know what that meant to me. All I knew was, sitting in that hospital bed, that I was going to make my life matter in the way that mattered to me. And to me, I am extremely passionate about business. It lights my soul on fire. It lights my soul on fire. And now I've found that what that passion and what that mission in my life is to promote and to elevate and to help other women be extremely successful in their businesses and whatever way that we can as a company, and to be able to run my own organization and to have a culture in my company that is unlike any other. And so that is, you can see the expression on my face change when I talk about those things. It lights my whole life on fire talking about business. I can talk about it for days and days and days. If I start talking about business and we're talking about ideas and whatever, it's going to be hard for me to be quiet. On the same token, I am chronically ill. I do have flare-ups quite often. I have been on some really life-altering medications. There's impending surgeries. There's so many unknowns in my future. And what keeps me going is my passions, is my dreams, is my tenacity to always do what I want to do and do what makes me happy, despite and maybe in spite. No, that's not a word. Despite and maybe because of my chronic illness. So that's what it means to me to be sick and successful. It means to be able to be myself and deal with my chronic illness, and to be able to shift my days and take care of myself and to take care of my body, and to not hide the fact that I'm chronically ill, and to be able to speak about it and to be able to talk about it and to share about it and to be open about my bad days, so that I can be the best version of me on my good days, so that I can achieve my goals, so that I can be successful in whatever that means to me. And the last little tidbit I'm going to give you here in episode 100 is what it truly means to me to be successful today, sitting in this chair. And what it means to me today to be successful is twofold. So there is one part for me is helping others and making a difference and seeing other women's businesses thrive and getting those messages that they're like overjoyed with the work we're doing. That's success to me. And the other part, the part that a lot of people don't talk about, I feel like, is to not have to want for more, to not have to look in my bank account and be scared or nervous to purchase, to be able to afford the luxuries in life that we want as a family. And actually for us, that's very different than a lot of people. Like for us, we want snowmobiles and quads and to be out in the country without reception on our phones. And we want maybe a tiny little bit bigger of a house because right now we're in a smaller house. There's little things that I want, but I want to be able to afford my daughter's education, whatever education that is. I want to be able to go on vacations when I want. And that's success to me. Success to me is twofold, just like being sick and successful. It's this part where I know I'm doing well and I know I'm successful when I'm making a difference. And I also feel successful when I'm not stressed financially and when I can be generous with my money and when I can make a difference on that side as well for myself, for my family, for my employees, and for the rest of the world. I think it's so important for women to have wealth and for women to have finances because what we do with it is so different, right? We are such generous people. And I know that you who are listening to this podcast are the same because that's what's, we're very similar in this community. And what we can do with money is, unfathomable. So that's success to me as well. It is financial and it is helping other people. So that is it for me. Today, I have a big ask for you, okay? It's episode 100, and what I need from you today, before you go on to your next task, before you scroll your phone, is to share this episode in celebration with me. Share it in your stories and tag us. Share it on your Facebook page. Take a screenshot of it and send it to a friend who you think is sick and successful. Let's open up this conversation of what it means to be sick and successful. And if you have an extra moment after you've done that, send me a message and tell me what it means to be successful to you. I'll put our Instagrams up here on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening, it's all in the show notes below. Thank you so much. Remember, dream big. It's possible for you, and the next version of success is around the corner. Episode 100, we did it.